everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics. I am Evan Irwin, and we're getting started as we do each and every week by introducing my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
I would have settled for cute co-host if that's where you were going with this.
My cute co-host, Aaron Campbell. My adorable co-host, Ruben Bresler.
Oh, hi.
Oh, I got it. You got it. Just like super co-host. So, we are back for another week of Magic Mics. We're here to talk about all things Magic. Some unbelievably horrible things happened in the past week since everyone may or may not have seen us. There was a horrible tragedy, and I just so happened to live in the town in which it happened. So that's absolutely awful. It's been a really weird vibe around Orlando. It's been really strange to see the whole world talk about the town that you live in. It's been really awesome to see the response from the community. It's been really awesome to see the response from the company that I work for. The response that we saw today from Star City Games. It's just been absolutely fantastic in many ways to see the horrific tragedy to the response from everyone to say that, this horrible thing happened, but by God, we're going to do what we can do to reverse this and explain that we are not this. This is not okay. This is not who we are. And to make, sort of a stance as to, things to do and things to do correctly. So, for my own sort of bit was internally at Cool Stuff Games. We are in, at Cool Stuff Inc., we are in Orlando. We are, this is, this is the company that I work for. It's where they started. It's where they grew. It's where they're still opening stores. We have another store in South Orlando coming at the end of the month. And, what are we going to do? And so we kind of put our heads together. If you go to coolstuffgames.com/Orlando United, we've created a charity event where we're going to have some absolutely fantastic events all day. We're getting some amazing donations from people all over the world. I've listed some already. We're just still getting just a ton of stuff starts to come in. And all of the proceeds for the raffle giveaways and the tournament entries and any donations that are made in store are going to be matched 100% by Cool Stuff Inc. up to $10,000. Which is amazing. So that day, for example, there was already planned a Fat Pack sealed event, which I just thought was kind of cool. You buy a Fat Pack, you open it, you build a deck with all the stuff that's in it, and you battle. That's what you do for $30. And I was like, that sounds great. Well, because it just so happened, we didn't want to cancel that event, so we said, well, those tournament entries also count. So if you pay $30 to play in this Fat Pack event, you're throwing $60 towards the Orlando United charity fund, which we have chosen to be the Pulse Victims Fund on GoFundMe. That is currently at millions of dollars, $4.6 million as of right now. Just what we can do. I mean, like Disney has given like $1 million and is matching 100% every donation from their employees. From our own, not just Cool Stuff Inc., but through Star City Games, they announced today that they are giving 10% of all entry fees to this upcoming weekend's Open Series event to charity, which is great as well. It's been very sort of heartwarming. And lastly, before I hand it off to you guys, Wizards changed the Planeswalker logo to a rainbow-colored one on the official Wizards_Magic Twitter account. So you can see that happen, and you can see a lot of people just there's very supportive messages, and you're able to see a lot of LGBT people in the community, and of course. Aaron, yourself, sort of one of those things where we've talked about this celebrity thing, kind of whether you like it or not, you're kind of out there in a figurehead, and people look to you and they want to see sort of how you're thinking and feeling about it. So, before we go to Mr. Ruben, Aaron, tell me about trying to process all this and how you're feeling right now.
So I was at GP Columbus with Ruben when this all went down. I was sleeping in Ruben's one of the guest rooms in his house, and I woke up in the morning to go to the GP, and I'd heard about what happened, and I was following the news as it was happening. I was glued to my Twitter and just hitting refresh and checking the hashtag, and I felt so many things that my mind was almost like a circuit board, where it was like I just blew a circuit. I blew a fuse. It was like I was overwhelmed. I was scared. I was happy by the outpouring of support. I was worried. I just couldn't process. And so, I went to the GP on Sunday. I didn't necessarily have the best time. I certainly wasn't my best in terms of my behavior. Like, I was feeling all of the things and I was taking it out on people. We ended up going out to dinner, Ruben, myself, and my friend Amalia, and I was keeping up with Twitter over dinner, and I just broke down and cried right at the table. And I'd never cried in front of Ruben before. Like, that was a really big deal for me, and I still feel really bad about that. I'm sorry, but I was just feeling all the things, and it was really nice to see. I like to sometimes give the community flack because it is primarily dudes, and sometimes they're not the most woke people in the world. But for the most part, the outpouring has been tremendous, and I'm amazed to see Cool Stuff, which sponsors me, in the girlfriend bracket. I'm amazed to see Cool Stuff doing something awesome. I'm amazed to see Star City stepping up to the plate. These are businesses that don't have to. You guys don't have to do these things. You really don't have to, and you're choosing to do so because you want to do the right thing, and you recognize how screwed up all of this is. And to see Wizards, and that makes the game that I love, supporting my community and me, it is just an amazing feeling. And everywhere I turn, I just can't believe it. And I actually had somebody come up to me at the GP and come out as trans to me. She was like, I'm doing this. I'm finally going to do this. And so she and another judge both came out as trans on the same day, which really put all of this in the perspective. And so, just keep all the love going. I myself am donating some things to the Cool Stuff event. And so if you have anything that you want to offer too, please do so. And just keep the love going, because it's really, we tend to get bogged down in negativity in this community. And now it's just not really the time.
Absolutely. So we are raffling away a bunch of really awesome stuff at the Cool Stuff Games location here in Maitland, Florida, which is the headquarters, which is where I, kind of work day in, day out. And yeah, we're having an amazing event. We already have a bunch of stuff from distributors, and John Avon, who is amazing, has already given us some stuff, and I already have a bunch of other stuff in the pipeline. As soon as I get it, I'm going to put it on the website. You'll hear me talk about it on Twitter. If you got something really cool in new condition, or some really awesome collectible stuff, or judge foils, or whatever it is you feel like that would help donate to the cause, to have people to donate all this money, this is very much something at Cool Stuff. I think we want to be very clear about. This is not in any way a profit event. In any way, we don't want it to be. We want it to be, let's raise as much money as we can. Let's make this thing awesome. We want to make sure people have a good time, but at the same time, we want to make the largest check possible to that fund. So Ruben, how do you sort of processed all this stuff as it's happened over the past week?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously this is a horrific event, not just for the LGBTQ community, but for America. This is the largest mass shooting that's ever happened in the United States. Not just 50 people dead, but also another 53 injured. Right. Some gravely. There's 100 victims of this. That's a difficult number to process. It's tough for me because I blend in really well with white people, but I myself am Jewish. So I sort of self-identify differently, and it's not exactly the same. But just recently there was a shooting in Tel Aviv. Where I have several family members. And whenever there's a shooting anywhere near anyone that I would consider a friend or family, it's difficult for me. I tend to control my feelings pretty well and articulate them pretty well. But, I felt empty somehow when this happened. It was just sort of, part of my depression came back. And I know there was nothing that I personally did wrong here to cause that feeling, but it just is the same, whenever something like this happens. It's more than an LGBTQ issue. It's more than a gun rights issue. It's more than a religious issue. And it's more than just an American issue. It was very difficult for me to process. And I'm not going to be able to. None of us are. But the best we can do is move forward positively and with love in our hearts, especially for the people who were most affected by this, which is, of course, lesbian, gay, transgender, bi, queer, etc. community. And I think it's important that we let everybody know in that community that you are aware of and that help you, and that are your friends, that they are important and needed, and we support them. And what, Aaron, I know that we think that, but I think it's important for us. you're important to us.
No, yeah.
You personally are important to us. And so I think it's important to tell the folks in your life that they are important to you when something like this happens. This is a huge blow, in particular, to lesbian, gay, transgender, bi people, because they struck at a place that is often considered a safe place. Dance clubs are, you can't walk down the street sometimes holding hands, but a dance club is more of a safe place, and they hit it at a super a rough point.
Well, they also hit during Pride Month. Like, this is the month when you're supposed to be celebrating. Like, I missed Milwaukee's Pride to come to the GP. I missed RuPaul's Battle of the Seasons to come to the GP. You're welcome. And when I was in Columbus, there was I got all of
a big deal. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. But when I was in Columbus, you guys had the banners on your light poles advertising your Pride is this weekend. Yep. And so this is the month that you're supposed to be able to celebrate, what makes you different. You're supposed to be proud of the fact that you are, gay or bi or lesbian or trans or queer. And there's just so much celebration for this month that this month is supposed to embody. And so not only was the choice very deliberate, I think also the timing was very deliberate because, everywhere you go, there's nothing but just pride and celebration and acceptance. And this really just kind of shattered the whole month, where it's like, well, and it was tough even seeing pride celebrations decide if they should go on, where, they were like, well, we should really, we should add more police. And then there were people saying, no, don't, because you're going to ruin the spirit of it. And then there was some pride saying, well, we should just cancel altogether. And then others saying, no, because that's what they want. And it was difficult to see, not only the aftermath that was happening, but see the community drive itself into panic of what are we going to do? How are we going to? There was even debate about whether or not you should be saying it was a gay bar. There were some gay folks that were like, well, what does it matter if it happened in a gay bar? It just happened in a bar. And then there were others that were like, no, it needs to be said that this happened in a gay bar. And so I was just upset seeing my community, get torn apart every which way. But again, there's just been so much love. And every time I turn around, somebody's, saying something to me that's wonderful, or businesses are doing something wonderful. And we're just in the best damn community.
We're in a pretty freaking good one. I mean, for me,
I got one more thing to add. Sorry, because we're in the Magic community is this sort of group of misfit toys. Really, I mean, everybody who I know plays Magic wasn't the most popular person in high school or in college, or for some reason was attracted to a counterculture like Magic. There are outliers, but for some reason, a lot of us came to Magic, be it because it was the group that was accepting of us when others weren't, or because it provided a creative outlet that was sort of different than the creative outlet of most people. In any case, Magic tends to attract the different. I'm using quotes there. I mean, it's an expansive term, and as a result, we tend to be more inclusive. And so, particularly in the Magic community, this reverberated quite a bit. And so I think that it's important to let the folks who are particularly the most vulnerable know they're welcome at your local game store, at your local tournaments, things like that. That's all I wanted to add.
Sure. Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, for me, there was, I think one of the greatest sort of news broadcasters we have is Anderson Cooper. Of literally of our generation. Like, he has just
the
become,
silver fox, Aaron.
He's just
I'm referring to what Evan's talking about.
Right,
I watched that video
but I honest to God think the guy is basically our Walter Cronkite. He is our generation's best, most well-known, most tell it from the heart, shoot it straight type newscaster guy that we have. And to spend a newscast and not say the shooter's name once, and to talk only about the victims, Lord Almighty, that was unbelievably emotional. I mean, some of that stuff, it's ridiculously difficult. And, even I think it was this morning he was talking to the DA who was railing against gay marriage, and all of a sudden she's out there saying like, blah, blah, we're here for LGBT. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, girl.
Don't think he was.
Some folks have come out of the woodwork that I would not expect to be bastions of LGBTQ rights. Like, for example, like I mentioned, I was Jewish. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is a pretty conservative dude. Like, he's pretty right wing, and he had a pretty powerful video today coming out in favor of LGBTQ rights. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of his. Like, I wouldn't vote for him. But he was like, I'm with you, BB. Like, that was some good stuff. You done good this time. Next time, maybe not so much, but you done good this time.
That's insane.
So, yeah, there have been some, you know, I think that I was very unhopeful that anything. I'm going to let my political colors fly for just a second. I hope you can forgive me. I apologize. But I was very unhopeful that anything would get done in terms of gun control ever. Once we decided that shooting kindergartners was okay at Newtown. But it is seems like maybe they're going to do something this time. And that's on C-SPAN right now. So if you guys are... the Democrats are filibustering to make sure gun legislation happens. And that is a positive step, I believe, in terms of one of the many facets of a horrible situation.
So, yeah, I mean, and I think there's a point where, you know, and again... I'll move on quickly, but just real fast, where you don't elect politicians, regardless of where they lean and what you like them to represent, to just tweet thoughts and prayers, but to actually do a thing. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't matter who you like, who you don't like. All right, so that was our first pick, absolutely, and we're going to move on to gathering the townsfolk. So before we start into other magical things, Ruben, you're doing a thing this weekend, and we should totally talk about your cool thing as we get back into the swing of stuff.
I appreciate that, guys. I'm going to be a commercial person now. Y'all should just go to eemagic.com, all right? eemagic.com. That's Eternal Extravaganza's homepage. It's about Eternal Extravaganza 4. It's the fourth one that's happened. There's a $15,000 legacy tournament on Saturday. Then on Sunday, there's a 10K vintage tournament, which is 15 playtest cards, and a 10K modern tournament. Those are running concurrently. So nice. $35,000 in prizes. We're going to have live video coverage at twitch.tv/ what's up?
No, I just like, it's going to be news coverage. It's going to be great.
They're just saying, like
or live coverage, rather.
Yeah, there's live video coverage with myself, and we just had word that our previous commentator, Steve Rubin, who's the defending Pro Tour champion, has a family emergency. He is not going to be able to be my co-commentator, unfortunately. So hopefully everything is okay with Steve's family. But in any case, Christian Calcano has been gracious enough to step in, gold level pro and super nice dude that I've had the pleasure of doing commentary with before. So it'll be myself and Christian doing legacy and vintage coverage all weekend long. You should go to twitch.tv/Tales of Adventure and follow them and get their updates. We're going to go live at 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday for live coverage of legacy and vintage. We've talked a lot about on this show about ways we want to improve coverage. Tales of Adventure has given me the keys, so to speak, to try to improve Magic coverage on my own terms. So I'm going to try my best. We're not going to be immediately the best thing ever, but you know what? We're going to have a pretty darn good show for our first outing. So you guys should please tune in to that. And if you guys are in the Eastern Pennsylvania or New Jersey or New York area, feel free to come on down to Allentown, Pennsylvania. All the information is at eemagic.com.
Aren't you a little nervous because each of your hosts has befallen like tragic fates? Like
we're pretty I must be jinxed. I'm pretty unlucky.
Maybe you should just keep like the other commentator like a secret until like the morning of.
We'll keep them in a box. We'll make sure nothing happens to him.
Christian has come down with scabies and will not be joining us.
Is what's going to happen.
That scabies outbreak got him again.
So yeah, no modern coverage at this tournament. It's going to be running concurrently. We'll have updates on the tournament and what's doing well and deck lists and those kind of things. But go to eemagic.com and twitch.tv/Tales of Adventure. That's what I'm doing this weekend. Hopefully you guys can tune in.
Yay! I'll be stopping by, for those who are attending the Orlando Open, I'll be stopping by shortly. I have, my kids with me this summer, so I'm not able to, like, stop by and, like, battle all day, which I would love to do, but I can't. But I will stop by to say, hello and see how everybody's doing and check out some Magic.
Oh, is it going to be like the dog walker that has all the little puppies on the leash? Like, you're just going to have all the little Irwins? Just...
There's just going to be kids everywhere, just kids for miles.
Or you know what else they should do? Remember, like, you know how sometimes when you go to the carnival and they have like the wooden cutout where you can put your face in it?
Mm-hmm.
It could be like your body, and then people could just put their little faces in and be Evan Irwin.
Just be Evan Irwin's kids? No, that'd be great. Like, little, like, you know, so many cutouts. And it's just like me at the top, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like kid. Would be unbelievable.
Love it.
Just in case Maxime is in the chat, I posted the high-res art for Brood monitor. You should feel free to paste Evan's face on the Brood monitor and his kids on the little tiny Eldrazi spawns. So there you go.
So good. So good. All right. So the first thing I wanted to bring up this week was, and it kind of got, you know, shuffled under the rug for a variety of reasons. MTG Goldfish, one of our favorites websites, ran by our own Saffron Olive, recently debuted their deck search feature. If Rue would be so kind to put the link in the chat.
Already on it.
And it will be in the video description, and it'll be in the podcast description, all that good stuff to find it. MTG Goldfish has been an incredible resource to find out the metagame of whatever format that you like to play. If you like to play Standard, you can find the Standard metagame all the way down to Pauper, because, you know, I love Pauper. And so when someone's like, here's your Pauper stuff, I'm like, oh, man. And then I was like, I want to see all the deck lists with, like, you know, Ravenous Rats, or, you know, Kumbaj Witches, or whatever it is, you know, or Delver of Secrets. And I couldn't do that. They didn't actually have a database that was working. They had a database, but they didn't have a searchable database. Let's put it that way. And so they've unleashed the search function. I think it's really great. I think it's one of those things that is so good, it is worth noting for people who are designing deck databases from the ground up. Now, granted, this one doesn't have infinite data in it, but for those who are taking, you know, like, let's do this right, I think they really did a great job at it. It doesn't always have to have 400 bells and whistles. Sometimes you're just looking for cards and decks or types or formats or the players and so on and so forth. So it has that information.
Super cool. I mean, I think that the layout of this is super interesting. If you click on, for example, if you just want a quick example, you can go up to the Decks tab, click on Metagame, it'll bring up Standard. You can click on Pauper. You can click on Tiny Leaders. It's a really cool layout to just give you a quick and dirty read down of, oh, what's in green-white tokens? Well, those cards are in green-white tokens. What makes you know, Bant Humans different than Bant Company? Oh, these are slightly different cards. That's kind of interesting, and I'm really impressed with how they've laid all this stuff out. Plus, you can also see the most recent lists. For example, in the Standard metagame, you can see the 5-0 Standard League that just happened today, and see all the lists from the 5-0s. So I think it's a really cool tool. And I'm very impressed with how simple it is to just sort of to internalize all the information.
Aaron, you can go there and type in Golgari Grave Troll. You can also type in Stinkweed Imp. You can type in Cabal Therapy.
Yeah.
And they'll
For
show
any
you those
format.
decks.
If you want to have Golgari Grave Troll in your... Well, you can't have Golgari Grave Troll. If you want to have Stinkweed Imp in your Tiny Leaders deck, you can do that.
Yeah, I like the search engine. My only quibble is it doesn't go back far enough. Like, I love to really, you know, especially because I tend to play decks that nobody really plays. I feel like, you know, I have to, you know, somebody may not have done well with the deck in the last 3 months. I think the farthest it went back was 3 months, and so I hope that that's something they will fix going forward, is to maybe go back to 6 months or even a year. Or, you know, I think Star City, you can go back even 10 years and be fine.
Yeah, Star City's search has been around for significantly longer, so they've got more data in their database.
Yeah, so you can also look up players as well. So
Absolutely.
if you're a big fan of, you know, Patrick Chapin, if you're a big fan of, you can just hit that name. And
Hashtag Baywatch?
Hashtag Baywatch, yes, which is now the Patreon goal that we are on since we smashed our last one.
She caught that segue. She caught it. It was rolling, and she was like, and then she just hopped on that segue and just kept on rolling. So
I picked up what you were putting down.
Yeah, we got water bottle. Yeah, very quickly, we got water bottles. Go to the website, hashtag thirst. All right, let's move on.
Dude, you don't just skip over water bottles, okay?
You know,
water bottles are a big deal.
Look, I was already advertising
logos.
so much on this show that I don't know how much more selling out the folks can take.
I'm sorry, how many stickers did you give out this weekend compared to me?
I gave out like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gave out like 3?
You're welcome.
Dude, I was sick on Sunday, so I like didn't go to the site.
Oh. I'm crying Magic Mike's tears.
Technically, I gave one to my parents, so 4.
That's a terrible.
I will have Magic Mike stickers and magnets, by the way, at the Orlando Open.
How many have you given out?
Oh, it's gonna be non-zero as of this weekend.
Yeah, hermit, you shut in.
That's right. I'm sorry. Enjoying my 4 walls and a roof.
Yeah. and never leaving.
Cut out, bro. Me going. Pop, 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 pop. Faces.
I don't really got room to talk. I got paneling now.
You got paneling. Paneling's a thing that's happening right there.
It's a 1970s Irish sitcom in my room.
Nice.
All right, keep talking.
Pretty good. So, Mr. Wesco, Craig Wesco, is a well-known professional player, and he has decided to put up a post called Personal Magic Tutoring. He has decided to start offering personal magic lessons. And here's the twist. Now, there have been other people who've done lessons. A lot of times, the default is always to do it live. It's you and the other person, and you're doing a draft or you're playing a match or whatever it is. And the pro and or the better player is trying to sort of walk you along the things that are happening. This is a little bit different in why it's really noteworthy. Craig wants you to record the matches that you play on Magic Online, and then you send that video to him. He will watch the video and provide a detailed professional level feedback on the mistakes that you made and how to correct them. I send you these comments and you rewatch your video to see exactly what I'm talking about. We repeat this process for another video. He started off at $25 a match, and that's a thing that you can do. So it's really interesting, I think, to have a new spin on kind of an old idea, which was, I'm better at this thing. I can absolutely, I can show you guys how to be better at this thing, but it doesn't have to be on a certain schedule. Our schedules don't have to match. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. When I get around to it, I'll make sure you get the feedback you're looking for. When you get around to it, you record the matches you're interested in being analyzed. You only pay ad hoc. It's a really fantastic model, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is taken up by more than just Craig.
Well, I have two things to add to this. The first one is, did I ever tell you the story of when I first met Craig Wesco?
Oh, let's hear it.
No.
Okay. This was so embarrassing, but I'm very proud of it. So I was at GP Richmond, which was the big SCG Open a couple of years back, which was modern, and Craig was on the same plane home that I was. And I was in the back of the plane, and he went to head to the bathroom, and this is when I still was starstruck by people. And so he was coming towards the back of the plane, and I don't know what came over, but I was like, Craig! And I'm waving like a lunatic, and people are looking around not only at me because I'm looking like a crazy person, but they're looking at him like, are you somebody? What's going on here? And poor Craig just looked like he wanted to fold into himself. He's just like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, I'm just trying to pee. And then finally I was like, I should probably stop because I look insane. So that was one time.
Wait, that was also the GP in which you saw me signing tokens, and I saw you over there across the way looking at me and me going like, hey, I know you, Aaron, hi, because I knew who you were, but no, it was okay. You were too big of a deal, and I literally couldn't get up from the table. I was signing like infinite stuff, but like, no, it's fine.
I do have a little quibble when it comes to this. And, I talked a little bit earlier about, I play some really free gas decks. And so, Craig Wesco also is known for sort of being the mono white player. He's known for playing a certain kind of deck. I don't mean any shade to Craig Wesco, but can you give Craig Wesco Jeskai Harbinger and have him give you the best lines of play? There are certain players that just have their niches. They have their archetypes. Like Bay likes his black-green decks. Andrea Mangucci, he loves his Legacy Miracles. BB loves Miracles. Tom Ross loves his Infect. My only concern with this is, if the only people offering these services happen to play things that you don't play, who can you go to? So this is going to be a thing. I would hope that a diverse group of pros comes forward where, if you want the Jund guy, you can go to somebody like Brad Nelson, you can go to somebody like Reed or whoever, because, if you give Jund to Craig Wesco, what is Craig Wesco going to tell you to do? Or likewise, if you give mono white to, Patrick Chapin, is Chapin going to know what to do with a mono white humans deck? Like, there's just certain things that I'm a little concerned about where it's a great service, but some of these pros are known for what they love to play, and if you play a weird deck like me, or you play a deck that happens to not be in your wheelhouse or their wheelhouse, you may not be getting the best information.
I will say, I can see your point, but let's not forget that Chapin won a Pro Tour with Fleece Mainline, right? Sure. And Wesco's top 8 at Grand Prix is with Esper Dragons style decks. He did he was known for playing Naya maybe I don't even know, maybe like a year ago. He was playing just like some Naya mid-range stuff.
Well, his Twitter username is what, like Nicodles for life?
It's Nakado's for life, yeah, and he's known for playing 3/3s all in green as well as being a mono white mage. Like his advice isn't just going to be, oh, I've recognized the problem, you don't have enough basic planes in your deck. So that's step one in making you a better Magic player. I think that there's a lot going on here. I think that first of all, Wesko's a very knowledgeable, good person to be doing this, and I'm actually surprised that he's going to take as much time doing this as he's going to be, because he's traveling a lot for these events. This is a much more the style that he's presenting here is much more similar to poker coaching style, which is you do your event, then we'll record it and break it down together, which is a lot more useful for a slow turn-based style game like Magic or Hearthstone or poker. And so I'm very hopeful, actually, that Craig's coaching style here is going to catch on. I think it's a really good idea. And I'm interested to see which other pros who feel they have the time and the energy to put into it.
Well,
this is going to be a unique thing.
Well, there's an opportunity here. Let's be real clear. There's a huge opportunity as to what is happening here. Here's what I would love to have happen, okay? Somebody who knows how to herd cats, okay? Because that's what Magic pros are. They're a big collection of cats. If you have the ability to herd cats, but if you are tenacious about it, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be tenacious. So just imagine this service, okay? Imagine you go to a website and it's like, procoaching.com or magicprocoaches.org or whatever crap they call it, all right? And it says, for $25 we will analyze your play because you suck. And it's got like a picture of like Craig Wesko, and there's a picture of Brad Nelson, there's a picture of Brian Von Duin, there's a picture of CVM, and all these people who are in their stable. It's not so much that you're saying, hey, Craig, I want you to review my video. You say, no, I will upload my video to procoaching.com, and they're going to feed it to the right people. So like, oh, you're playing like black-green mid-range, Reed Duke or on Andrew Boswell or somebody who is well known for that can do that. Or you're playing blue-white control. Oh, Kyle Bogamus is on the site. He'll review your article or your video and give you feedback on it. This is the type of thing that you could develop an entire service around. And here's the beauty of it, because they're such freaking cats, that you give them the option to review any number of videos whenever they feel like it. When you're able to give the freedom to, a Craig Wesko or a Brad Nelson and say, hey, here's a login, and when you log in, you're going to see all these videos in the list. You just pick one, and whichever ones you do, I'll give you $25 for, or I'll give you,
I like that.
20, 15, whatever it is the charge is, and the upside goes into the people who are managing it. You can create a website for this. You can create users. You can create feedback. You can have a whole list of videos that they've done for you. You're able to keep all that feedback collected into the website, so it stays in the website. Maybe there might be like a thread that you can have, like they post their report, and then you can have like a little kind of messages at the bottom where you're going through comments on things and stuff. Maybe it's comments that are in line with the report, like Google Docs. When you highlight a line in a Google Doc, you can add a little comment to the right.
You're so excited. Just let Craig coach once.
No.
Coach one
Here's
time.
What we do, buddy.
Well, it also gives these guys
go all the way
one time, and then we'll hire 35 other people. Let Craig do his thing.
It also gives these people an alternative, because sometimes they don't have anything to talk about, and you will see, how many times have you seen the tweet of what should I'm going to do a mailbag this week, or I'm going to, give me something to talk about. And so instead of having to, tap the well dry.
No. Tell me my Wi-Fi
isn't easy.
Crap out. This is probably bad.
Other forms of income.
Something weird's going on. Dang it.
Really be on the plane and be like, I'm going to watch this video, I'm going to do this thing. In between rounds, you can look at the video. It's just it's a more convenient way of doing your job, and I think it's great.
My only concern is that it's a lot of work coaching. I mean, if you're trying to get people to pay you money to coach, then they expect a marked improvement, right? That is a tough sell to begin with. And it's not impossible, and there are plenty of people who do it. I'm just saying that it's a very difficult business and it's a lot of work. So kudos for Craig for announcing it, and I hope that he can keep up with the workload that he has signed himself up for.
Well, I do too. I mean, and for what it's worth, the stream just like crapped all over itself when my internet connection had problems, and
Did it?
yeah, it's it's fine.
Oh God.
So anyway,
Are
my
we still
buddy.
going?
No,
Are we still
we're
live?
going. No, we're good. We're live. I think it stopped
Did we
doing
have
that.
Did we have a hashtag transmafia issue?
We could have had a hashtag transmafia problem.
You know what I mean? Better watch yourself.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I forgot to pay my protection money. My favorite was my buddy Chris, who Chris Millard's in the chat, and he said they sent the stream off for Wesco to look at it.
Oh no!
It's like,
You did a Wesco check on the stream. Unbelievable.
That's not coming out of my Patreon money. That's coming out of y'all's.
Yeah,
It's
that's not-
definitely it's my internet for what it's worth, but no, for sure, dude. That's what he has to name his website. It's the Wesco check. You want the Wesco check? It's $25 for the Wesco check.
Jeez, that'd be so good.
Branding.
You think about it. If you could make his own little headbands, because he loves his headbands, you can make some headbands with the Wesco check on it. I mean, my God.
All right, I'm going to
Give him the check mark.
restart the
I like
stream.
it. Gonna restart the stream. Okay. I'll let them know.
All right, we're running. We're going back up. We are connecting to. There we go. There's Miami. Going live. Here we go. Okay. We appear to be up and running. We appear to not be dropping any more frames.
Testing. Can we talk about the alligator attack at Disney World again?
Not talking
No.
about that.
All right, fine. We'll skip that one.
I cannot believe Wesco just made the Wesco check service. That's amazing.
So good.
It's pretty delicious. Yay,
All
we're
right,
back.
we're
Hello,
back.
everybody. Welcome back to the show.
To the second half. Of
To the
Magic
second
Mac.
half, y'all. We're here. It's
Joining me
11:37.
as they
Let's
do
get
every
started.
week in the middle of the show are my two co-hosts,
Woo,
Derpa
woo.
Doopa Doop and Derpa Deeple Doop.
So, for everybody who missed the Wesco check jokes and how Wesco made the Wesco check service, you're welcome. You're welcome for that.
Yeah, that is nice.
So for those who are listening on podcasts, they're just like, dude, we just shut up and go on, for God's sake. All right. Next up, we're talking about Mr. Hogland. Jeff
Aaron,
Hogland,
please.
who is a man whose reputation precedes him. Who Aaron clearly has a
Sorry.
huge crush on. Just it's Baywatch and then like Hogland fever hashtag, and yeah, so holding out for a Hogland.
Do
Wow.
you want?
You saw
Let's
what I
move
did
on. Aaron, just mute your mic so
I'm
we
good.
can.
Oh,
This is like
I'm
when we
good.
talk about Chris Cox. It's exactly the same.
and
It's
everybody
exactly the
wants to talk
same
to
response.
him, and it's like, have you seen Mr. Cox? Okay.
Good.
Jeff Hogland wrote an article today that he posted on jeffhogland.com on his blog, and he entitled it Farewell to MTGO. He's cutting right to the chase. He will no longer be regularly streaming Magic Online on his twitch.tv page after the first week of July. He says first week of July because he has subscribers on Twitch, and those subscribers basically paid and supported Magic content, so he's going to go ahead and give them Magic content until the first week of July. So that's the thing. And he kind of, his explanation in a good old-fashioned nutshell is that Magic Online is crap and isn't Hex awesome. Hex is complicated Magic. We've covered this many times. If you like complicated Magic, you're going to love some Hex because holy crap, it's complicated. And that's why Jeff Hogland and Chris Van Meter have been eating it up. Why? It's a better online experience. It's way better value for your money. And it's super freaking complicated. And that's not to say it ain't fun because I liked it. I played it. I streamed it. I learned it. I think it's really cool. I'm just telling you like it is. It's a thing. That said, it's one of those things where he's just kind of like, hey, this is the thing I'm doing. You guys should know about it. It's basically a talking point. It's yet another isn't Magic Online sad and shouldn't we all be upset? And, and then I'm just like, ooh, shiny, Shadowmoor drafts. And then like literally an hour, maybe two later, and then I see Numot the Nummy, Kenji, just freaking like stopping his stream, just hating life when Nullspine Invocation, which is a 2 red and a generic mana enchantment that says you may discard, let's see, I think it's pay X generic Discard
Yeah.
cost
Pay
equal to X.
Discard so if you discard a 3 converted mana cost, pay 3, deal 3 to something.
Right,
Or
deal
5,
three to
deal
creature
5.
player. It's bugged, and it's one of the biggest bomb rares in the format, and one of the biggest bomb rares in that format that you are paying money to play in a flashback draft is bugged. That is just, ugh.
Didn't that happen with one of the Kamigawa sets too? There was something that happened. Like this seems to be the theme of the flashback series. Is that you play the flashback set, and you're supposed to be able to experience how great it was to draft these sets, and you're not really able to because all the good cards are broken. Like that's just embarrassing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Devouring Greed was an entire archetype that they broke
There you go.
when it came out.
And we chuckle, we have a good time on the show when we talk about Jeff Hogland. But honestly, he's not wrong.
No.
Like, he's not enjoying himself. I don't blame him at all for this. And truth be told, he's one of the 10 biggest streamers in Magic the Gathering on Twitch.
Wow.
Twitch is not exactly doing great Magic is not exactly doing great on Twitch, right? It's in between an old version of Street Fighter and an old version of Super Smash Brothers, usually in terms of viewership. It's not like that's not the top 5 esport brand we were promised during the quarterly meeting. So when you're losing someone of Jeff Hogland's caliber, in terms of being an entertaining and popular streamer, that's a problem. And so, and it's not an enjoyable introduction to Magic the Gathering for a lot of people, and it scares people away from a great game in paper that should be able to be played online that just simply can't be, because in paper, null spine unification works fine, and in online it doesn't.
Well,
right?
let me give you. So I can already hear like the devil's advocate argument. The people in Wizards gnashing their teeth, really upset, saying there are 100,000 interactions that work fine, yet this interaction doesn't work. Why you focusing on the thing and the stuff? And it's because that's part of the experience when you say here's an awesome old draft format and yet something in it is broken, and then it kind of happens like all the time.
That's like Ford saying, like, 100,000 of our cars are fine. It's only like one every year that comes out of the factory broken that you bought and then drive on the highway. You can't have that success rate. That's not a thing you can do.
It's
you
tough.
gotta. It's not
that,
exactly the same. You get what I'm saying, though.
No, but the other fact was the fix was, and for what it's worth, I understand the fix. I'm just telling you, it just doesn't sound good, which is they just removed the card from packs. And I'm like,
stupid.
So I can never get the card in the format.
Yeah, so I'm just not going to play. I'm going to open red rares less often.
Wow.
I mean, that's literally the fix. I understand the worst of the world. I get it, man. But
I would rather they have just done that and not told me, and then have Kenji tweet in like a week, has anybody seen any null spine invocations? And someone else be like, you know what? I actually haven't seen any null spine invocations.
Let's not hate on Wizards for being transparent. I don't want to send the message that being transparent was bad.
No,
what I want to say is it's still awkward. And any transparency of this nature when things are awkward and broken is bad. I get it. I just hate it that we have this same conversation all the time. Like every time it's like, oh man, I cannot wait to draft Mono Red because it's the best archetype in Shadowmoor. The best rare you could open in that archetype is broken.
Yeah.
It's funny, Willie Edel had posted a tweet, and I don't know if this was in relation to this, but he had asked Lee Sharp, he goes, when we get around to Return to Ravnica flashbacks, can you remove Pack Rat? And Lee was like, he won't remove a card simply because it's powerful, but thanks for the suggestion. And I was like, oh, no, he didn't, and that was great.
That was great. Oh, my God. I mean, there's a world where you could say this was an abhorrent mistake and we remove them from the packs, but then you live in a world where Umazawa Jites don't show up in Betrayers packs, and that's
okay, this is a conversation we're having now. Is that a thing we want to do?
No.
Like, do we want to do flashback drafts of like, look, we know this was a mistake. We've replaced, just like they're doing with Magic Duels, where they're taking the Archangel of Tides out of packs and replacing with some other slightly worse white creature, I assume. Could we replace Nullspine Invocation with a fixed version of Nullspine, some other red rare that functions on Magic Online?
No.
Or replace Jite with some other equipment? Like, honestly, that would be a Hearthstone-style fix, where they're like, look, this card was broken, or it was too good, we've now replaced it.
It would be
I'm just saying,
digital card game fix. It
Right.
wouldn't be
That's
this exists in the real world. I think if Magic were only a digital product, we might actually see something like that, which is which of these two things is cheaper, which of these two things is faster. You know, fix the broken thing or give them something else that works just fine.
Yeah, I mean, just every flashback format is now a remastered format where they like fixed the rarities and did everything different, like they did for Tempest.
And
I'm just saying.
And it sucked.
Look, man, I'm just playing devil's advocate like you are.
No, and I get it, and I want that because I feel like a lot of viewers enjoy hearing those different sides of the argument. And Aaron is like, yeah, whatever. Aaron's like moisturizing.
Let the boys talk about whatever bull crap they want to talk about. I got this smooth skin.
All right, so let's bring it back down. Let's bring it back around to Magic Online. Is Magic Online something that is in such a horrible shape that it's time to give it up?
Well, I think, and here's the thing I'm so amused by is it kind of reminds me. I like to come up with crazy metaphors, as Ruben likes to say, and it kind of reminds me of when you get that person who breaks up with you and they do it in like the most like egregious extra fashion, where it's one thing to be like, you know what, the relationship's not working out and I'm out, but like, you know, Hogland's letter is very much like, I am out. Do you hear me? Out. O-U-T. I'm not coming back, and you can't have this. And it's just
a world star hip hop style breakup.
So over the top, where it's like, if you're not seeing it from Magic Online, and Lord knows you haven't for a while, then just go. You ain't gotta make posts. You can just go. And it's just it's just, do you hear me? I am leaving. It's just so extra.
The problem with that is that he's a popular streamer. He needed to make an announcement. If he just stopped, there would have been a Reddit post.
He did say a little something. There's different ways you can put it. I mean, this is very similar to something we talked about in the pre-show. If for those who like the angry video game nerd, which I do, I think he's fantastic. He makes great content. I've watched him for years. But I think he made a serious misstep when he made a video talking about how he was not going to review the new Ghostbusters movie. He's like, I'm not doing it. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, you're just... No one cares if you don't do something, and saying that you're not going to do something is really weird. And so at least there was the expectation that Jeff is going to play Magic Online and he's going to tell you he's not playing Magic Online. I appreciate and understand, maybe not appreciate, but I understand the fact that he's saying like, hey, look at Hex. Hex is sweet. Hex gives you more value, yada, yada. Well, clearly, because Hex isn't making the infinite bukus that Magic Online is. But it's also a better client. Why? Because it got built from the ground up, brand new. It also didn't have nearly as many cards in it, you know, and developers can take advantage of all those, of all those things. So that's the thing. So Jeff, I wish you nothing but the best in your Hex adventures. And may they treat you well.
And when you do come back to Magic Online, I want you to play more Death Cloud, because I was very entertained for that week you played Death Cloud, just saying.
I think he's going to come back. I know that it's a thing, and he's making
And that's what makes the post so awkward, is like, posts like
thing,
that, when you do come back, it just looks really weird, where it's like...
Now, it's entirely possible that, I reading between the lines, I could see him playing Magic Online as a practice tool and simply not streaming it.
Maybe.
Because he still plays live Magic, and Magic
Online... You have a headline like, farewell to MTG.
I know. I understand. I'm just saying.
That's like saying we're going to break up, but I'm still going to call you at 3 a.m. for cuddles. Like...
Right.
Well, sometimes you need cuddles.
Sometimes you need Magic Online's warm embrace, Aaron. You can't cut it out cold turkey. Sometimes you need that fix.
You need Worth's sweet nothings.
That's right.
Oh, that's a mental picture I didn't need.
So, I think let's cut the fact that it's Jeff Hogland out of the equation, because we've talked about Jeff on the show before, and he's a character we all know, right. And he has certain tendencies that fit his personality. But if we cut him out of this, it's a sad state of affairs when a top 10 streamer in your game goes, you know what? This is not worth the money that I'm bringing in through advertising on my stream to continue to play this game, because the game is so frustrating to try to deal with. Yeah. That's a major problem that we've talked about on the show sort of before, but this is a actual, chip of the block coming off. This is the start, potentially, of the erosion of the Magic Online Twitch community perhaps exodusing from Magic. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I am saying that there are little bits and pieces everywhere. There's a better game here. There's a better interface here. We get more viewers with this game. It's just another link in the chain of Magic isn't great online.
Now, I'm currently participating in the beta for the Eternal card game by LSV and Chapin and friends and all those amazing
I have
sickos.
A key. I haven't logged in yet because I'm busy. But
you should really check that out because I can't say anything, but all I will say is that it's important and it's going to be important. And I think we should make sure we pay attention to that because when things like this happen, which is my online experience is such a negative one, and you have people who, have really just built careers. I mean, Newmont came from a Magic Online streaming start. That's where he got started, period. And had it not been there, had he not done that, had Magic Online been something else, we wouldn't know his name. He wouldn't be where he is. So that's the thing that as this continues to happen, I think it's going to happen more often. I think Jeff is absolutely coming back, even if it's just a stream or rather not stream. He's just playing offline. He's playing in leagues or whatever. It is a legitimate path to the Pro Tour, even if it's sometimes bugged. You can get to the Pro Tour through Magic Online, and I think that's important. So anyway, let's move on now to some of those desperate ravings. And the desperate ravings, some things that people were talking about this week. Magic Wizards themselves is really pushing something called Access Magic. And this is right now currently it's like a 20-second long video from Jimmy Wong, and he's talking about how in I think it's 5 days on June 20th he's going to have a conversation with Mark Rosewater and preview a new card and all that good stuff. And you have this video series called Access Magic that came out of nowhere. This to me seems like it's somebody's baby. Somebody at Wizards. Maybe it's Trick Jarrett. Maybe it's Trick Jarrett's boss. I don't know. Or maybe it's somebody on Trick Jarrett's team. But either way, they're like, this is the thing that we can do. We can make a video series. We can put some hype in it. We can get some real production values. The production values are very high. I mean, they have a real set that they built. They spent lots of money building it. I can tell you, I can see money all over that thing. And they're really wanting to make a production out of it. And maybe instead of these like inside R&D things they do for the Pro Tours, we'll get something cool for the pre-releases / the spoiler season. I don't care. I mean, I think it's great. Give me great video content from R&D, however you give it to me. It's just, I think it was worth bringing up that Wizards is definitely trying something new and different, and maybe it works. I mean, maybe we need somebody, that can help guide it. One of the other things that I really didn't like that much about the videos they were showing on the Pro Tour. As much as I love Rich Hagan, I didn't feel like there was much of a sense of Rich interacting with R&D. It was Rich would introduce a thing and say R&D, they went deep into Ravnica, and you're like, okay, it's like, and the Demir was they were scheming, and I'm like, all right, they're scheming, and then and all of a sudden it's like 6 interviews later, and you never hear Rich say another word until the end. Join us next time when what? And yes,
we have your Halloween costume.
I actually think I could get there. You're not wrong. Anyway, so it'd be great, right?
It'd be really good.
But no, I mean, it's great. So he kind of puts that thing on, and then all of a sudden it's like you hear these interviews and it kind of ends. And so maybe the Jimmy Wong factor of having someone sitting there and interacting and having that back and forth will help things. I mean, look, it feels very similar as to when if you get the right chemistry, when you when I sat down with Brad for that first set review and you go whoa, this is an entirely different feel from what I was doing. Maybe that's what happens when we get Jimmy Wong and all these people, or just Jimmy Wong and Mark Rosewater. Maybe they just blow up. Who knows? Why is everybody talking?
I had the chat because I had the chat press 1 for more Evan Hagon. That's what I typed. That's why the chat is all ones right now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so those of you that don't know who Jimmy Wong is, you better know. He's a big deal. He's got a lot of Twitter followers. He's best known for playing Ted on Video Game High School. His older brother's Freddie Wong, and together they do the Rocket Jump stuff, which Rocket Jump is just all over the place now. He also does a Commander podcast called The Command Zone with Josh Lee Kwai. and it's a pretty popular podcast. You know, they're based out of Los Angeles with like the Modern Masters guys.
Sure.
He personally is in Seattle, I think. And so he's obviously up there near them. This is a big deal. I mean, we remember a couple years ago when they introduced Spell Slingers, poured a lot of energy and time into that with Sean Plott.
Right.
This is the next evolution of that. This is more of a talk show style thing rather than a character development, kind of getting to know you, get to know some Magic celebrities kind of thing.
Aaron, how you feel about it?
So yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Wow, that's
It's
great.
1
I'm glad
clip.
it's like a 40-second video.
The other thing that's important about this is that he says that he's going to have Mark Rosewater and there's going to be a preview card, right?
Right.
Theoretically, the preview card is going to have the set symbol on it.
Yep.
Which we still don't have.
My guess, they're going to preview Emrakul. My second guess is that they're going to preview the fact that Emrakul is now on 2 cards, big furry monster style. Okay? That's my guess.
Yeah, we had this tinfoil hat discussion, Aaron.
There was some tinfoil happening on Twitter today, actually, about possibly the double-sided cards in Eldritch Moon being Emrakul touched.
Okay.
I thought that was something really cool about, because Emrakul has sort of been influencing the plane, and instead of it just being like werewolves flipping like we know, it would be, let's say like a Thraben Inspector, but they've been corrupted, and you could flip it over and you'd see like, Emrakul's impact on them, and that was a neat little thing I saw being discussed on my Twitter feed a little bit, and I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I'm not so sure how I feel about the double card thing. That I'm not really a fan of that, but I'd like to see I think the flip thing could be done really well.
I would say just wait for it.
Yeah,
So
we discussed it on a past episode. I forget which one, but one of them we had the tinfoil hat episode where I went all conspiracy theory. It was Aaron. We need you to put the hat on because Emrakul is got like that. I did that for a while. I forget which episode it was, but we discussed how that was a possibility, and Mark Rosewater really loves doing things like, well, I never knew how to do it before, but now we figured it out. And he loves doing stuff like that.
he does.
I mean, you did your impression, so I had to do my impression.
Nice.
Except for he looks like slightly off to the side, really excited. And has a plane in the background of some kind. I'm here on the wood paneling plane. So anyway, whatever it ends up being, I think that's probably a good theory that that's the card that's going to get previewed because why would you hide why would you save Emrakul till later if you already know what the set symbol is? So that makes sense.
There you go. So we don't have time for the red zone this week because I want to make sure. Now, if we do, we'll run it back. It's not okay. It's okay. But I really got to get out this Going Infinite. Okay.
All right.
I got to get out a thing. It's been bubbling for a while, and I feel like it's
Aaron,
bubbled over.
I need some. Hold on before you go, Aaron. I need some hand sanitizer.
I need some.
Yeah.
I need some.
You need a little squirt. Okay, you're good.
Oh.
Go ahead, Aaron. Evan.
Okay. I love it. Ruben Rosewater, Evan Hagon, and Aaron Bourgeau. So good.
Hygiene is very important for the event. We do not want players getting sick and bringing down the event with their illness.
And this week on Going Infinite, we're going to take the stupid process of taking $20. You take $20 from people. 20 American, the currency
You're
of the
scooting into
people.
Peaky Blinders accent. The Peaky Blinders.
It's the All right,
Pull it back just a little.
All right, I gotta pull it back a little bit. The sleeping specials at the constructed
right.
GPs, okay? It's a
not-
little bit of the whisper. It's a
Say
little
what
bit.
you have to say.
Anyway, sorry. Sleeping specials at the constructed Grand Prix have to stop. They have to stop. It is officially turned into ridiculousness, and here's how. PES, Professional Event Services, ran Grand Prix Columbus. Now, whether or not you like PES, as they're known, PES, whether you like PES, whether you don't like PES, no matter what you have there, they had online deck registration for everybody. This is a constructed tournament. So you could pay for a sleep-in special and show up when your buys were finished, which was a $20 upcharge. Now, the only thing you were doing was paying for the privilege to not attend the player meeting. So I'm going to run this back one more time. You're going to freely submit your deck list, and let's say you had 3 buys because you have went through Wizard system, you have earned your Planeswalker points, you have done what they have asked you to do, and now this organizer says, give me $20 and I will let you take advantage of the things that you have earned. Let me rewind back a few years, okay? I was working for SCG. We were doing Grand Prix stuff, and we decided to provide free playmats to everybody. In fact, I want to say that GP Richmond was one of the first ones that we did in a way that we explained that everyone was guaranteed a playmat, no matter what. And that was pretty groundbreaking at the time, because usually before then, for those who may not remember, it was something like the first 500 pre-registered got a playmat. The first 1,000 on the floor got a play, who registered there at the or checked in got a playmat. All these sort of different things. You got a playmat for playing in VIP, but otherwise you wouldn't get one, or whatever. There was 700 different ways for you to get playmats, but there was never just everybody gets the playmat. Well, all of a sudden everybody got the playmat, and then we ran another one where everybody got the playmat, and all of a sudden it became such an uproar that these GPs were doing stuff that wasn't like everybody gets the playmat, that Wizards had to say everybody gets the friggin' playmat, because that's what Wizards should have done. They did it. I'm glad they did it. High five. That's awesome. We began a new era of player expectations. There is a new era of player expectations. Here it is. That is ridiculous. Stop. Wizards, you need to tell the organizers that the tools exist for free online, whether it's just a Google form or things like decklist.org, to verify, check, to make sure that deck lists are actually what they say they are. You have the ability to sign waivers online. You can do that. Online signatures exist. You can have them fix this problem. And so there was a lot of talk this past weekend when it was brought up. There are pros themselves who at this point are just calling it extortion. They feel like it's taking advantage of the players. And I'm serious, if it's not a limited Grand Prix, for limited Grand Prix, you have an argument that says you're providing a service. I'm registering your seal pool for you so you can show up and register your deck and go play in the event. That is a service. I understand that. I am okay with that. You can charge for that sleeping special if you'd like, because it is giving you something. This is doing nothing at this point. There's no logistics that you can say that are being handled by someone showing up later and giving a deck list or whatever. If the worst of it is having to sign a waiver, just literally put a checkbox that says I agree to your waiver. Here's a link to the PDF. It's every terms and conditions you've ever seen in your life. You're always going to check it. Who cares? And so David Ochoa, Sam Black, God bless these guys. These guys do not have to say anything. These guys are platinum pros. They don't have to pay sleep and special charges. It's time to figure it out. And, David Ochoa comes out and he says, so Professional PES says, did you know you can submit your deck list electronically? And David, says, does this mean that people who submit an online deck list can skip the player meeting? And Pez says, unfortunately, no. You must attend the 9 a.m. Saturday player meeting unless you have an SIS upgrade. And Ochoa goes, why must I attend the player meeting if my deck list is turned in and I'm not required to play until round 4? Todd Anderson, God bless him, jumps in. This is effing ridiculous. Sam Black goes, pretty weird that we've evolved to an equilibrium where player meetings are primarily about extortion. Why do you have a player meeting? Why do you have a player meeting? And why can't you imagine a world where your Grand Prix buys are giving you the benefit of not attending it? Why? Because you know enough about Magic, about tournament Magic, about playing tournament Magic, that you have earned rewards at its largest events. So respect people that way. And so this is not the first time that Sam has done this. So let's give credit where credit's due. Sam Black has beat this drum before. Absolutely. He's done a great job at it. And one of the things that he says later on, as someone who gets sleep-in specials for free, he thinks Wizards needs to step in and break up the system. Hashtag free SIS. Hashtag free SIS. Use it. My friends, the people who are listening to this, God bless all of you. Tell Wizards, tweet at them, send them messages. This is ridiculous. I literally think we can get this changed because it is so absurd, and there is just no argument anymore that for constructed Grand Prix, let's be clear, there should not be any charge for a sleep-in special. That is completely BS, and you are just milking people, and it needs to stop. And here's the last one I'll bring up before I see what you guys think about it. There was a point where Todd is talking about, the someone's talking to Todd about, hey, can you speak to SCG to change the system? And Todd's like, look, man, I'm a contractor. People overestimate my pool, so on and so forth. TJ Collectibles, who is a Grand Prix organizer, comes in kind of out of left field, and correct me if I'm wrong, out of left field and says the following. At Todd Anderson and David Ochoa and Sam Black. So if a TO offered Platinum, Gold, and Hall of Famers free SIS, you'd be happy Magic players? ? What the hell are you talking about? We'd be happy Magic players. First of all,
I don't know what that is.
Magic players complain. I get it. I'm here. I dealt with a lot of those people. I understand. They're my people. That's where I came from, was tournament Magic and being upset at things that often a lot of people really shouldn't be upset about. But to have something so condescending, to say, so if we were to offer you, you'd be happy, right? You'd like shut up, right? You'd be happy with it. Well, first of all, Platinum and Hall of Famers already get free sleeping specials. Second of all, don't be so condescending to your customers, man. Seriously, whoever wrote this had no idea how this was going to come off, because it's ridiculous and you should be ashamed of yourself. However, the idea that this is even a conversation, I think, at this point is upsetting, and I feel like Pez, because they did this for the third time. This is not the first event where they just like beta tested submitting your deck list online. This is the third time they've done this. This is a proven, known quantity, and to pay $20 so that you don't have to show up at a certain time and hear some people say some announcements you've heard a million times. You know why? Because you have a bunch of Planeswalker points. You know why? Because you have a bunch of buys thanks to them. This has to stop. It is unbelievably ridiculous. Hashtag free SIS. I'm just really disappointed that we haven't seen a change by now, but I think a change needs to come.
I want to point out that it appears as though hashtag free SIS has already been appropriated.
No.
By Aaron. Perhaps you can help me, because this appears to be Black
God.
Twitter.
Oh, God.
And so I don't know what this is, but apparently someone named Sis was arrested.
What have you done?
I'm just letting you know.
What have you done?
All right, so I want you to take over this hashtag, all right, everybody? We're going to take it over. Guerrilla style.
Oh, Evan, and they will come for you, like especially.
Oh God, I'm just kidding. I did not vet this hashtag. I feel like it was the one that fit.
Free SIS may be not the hashtag, but the point is well argued. Perhaps the hashtag less well researched, but I definitely agree that there is for constructed Grand Prix organized by Wizards of the Coast and whichever TOs they select to run any given constructed Grand Prix, this makes sense. The player meeting does still serve a purpose. For example, I still scribble on my sideboard until the judge walks by a lot of the time.
Sure.
Now, for this Grand Prix, I submitted the deck list online, had a sleep-in special that I paid for. I considered experimenting with, submitting the deck list and coming for round 2 and just, seeing what would happen, playing with fire. I didn't end up doing it.
Don't do that.
But it would have been interesting. But, yeah,
so
I think that this is an issue worth exploring, certainly.
The last thing I'll note that I had in my notes here, I did not include, and I feel like is also including, there was a guy named Chester Swords at 2 Plowshares, where he tweeted at Todd Anderson, and Todd Anderson's tweet was, Wizards giving free sleeping specials to Platinum Pros so they don't complain is genius, but also horrific. Because they don't care, because they never see the problem, they never feel the problem. Whereas, this guy saying, yep, I had to pay $120 Australian to register for sleeping specials for Taipei, just so I can make it to the GP from the airport on time. Feels good, man. It's just at some point gouging people. And I don't like to throw around the word extortion.
I posted all 4 of those links, the David Ochoa tweet, the 2 Plowshares tweet, the Sam Black tweet, and the TJ Collectibles tweet that we discussed. All of those were in the chat earlier. Scroll up for that.
Right, and all I'm saying is we don't need an Orzovian mechanic to explain what the hell a sleeping special is. We just don't need to
Haunt? Was the Orzhov mechanic Haunt?
It was not that one.
Okay,
it was the other one. Yeah, the other one. All I'm saying is when you see these types of tweets, you see what type of sort of perverted thing that happens, which is I am taking advantage of my sleeping special just so I can show up at the event. It's not like I'm, getting my Starbucks and sleeping in late and hanging out with my buddies eating a biscuit. No, man. This is just me trying to get there.
That's what I do during my buys.
Well,
I go get breakfast.
And as you probably should, but you know what? You should get that because you earned them. You're in this organized play system. This is your benefit.
Sure.
Aaron?
Oh, that all makes sense.
You're not wrong. I'm certainly not as passionate about this as you are. I was more upset by the fact that GPs are still cash only. Like, why is this still happening?
You know what? You're also not wrong. Like, these are both directions.
And more importantly, if it's going to be cash only, why is this still not communicated? Like, that's always been my issue. Like, I don't mind if it's cash only, but when it's nowhere on your Facebook page, it's nowhere on your website, it's not posted anywhere. Like, when I just show up on Sunday because I didn't do well on day one, and I think I'm just going to do this 4-round side event, and it's going to be fine, and I get told, have your cash and your DCI card ready. Why are we still doing this? Like, when even the concession stand people that work for the venue, they normally don't take credit cards. Like, they normally will make you do cash, and then, like, sometimes the TO will. This is just something
technological issues that should be solved by this point, for sure.
Yeah, so that's the thing I'm kind of passionate about. But you're not wrong. But again, there's just a common thread of a lack of professionalism. Like, I wasn't really affected by this until you mentioned the TJ Collectibles tweet. Like, how is that okay for a TO to say that to somebody? Like, if you feel that way on your personal account that Magic players are entitled or that they're whiny or what have you, you do that from your John Smith account. But for a TO to release this was just really off base for me, and I was just like, can we get some home training, please? Like, I'm just really sick of these guys and their, these professional accounts being anything but.
Well, for what it's worth, I think it is, like, I think we live in another point where there is a and this was kind of what my original thesis was for all of this, was there is no defined from Wizards your expectations as a player at an event. There are hints, there are suggestions, there's behind closed doors things that they like and require and so on and so forth, but a lot of it is not communicated, therefore you don't know it. I mean, just think of how long it took before we knew the max capacity for various venues. That wasn't something that just showed up. Like, it only happened when so many problems occurred that there was a problem with it. So I just don't understand that Wizards couldn't say, hey, first of all, free sleep-in specials for constructed players, because first of all, that's a marketing term. Can we be real clear about this? Because I'm a marketer. I'm telling you guys. The sleep-in special thing just means, can you just show up when you're expected to show up? That's a thing. Thanks.
Or if we're going to talk about marketing, let's also improve the VIP system while we're at it. The VIP zone at Columbus was tragic.
They are often awkward.
A lot of the stuff.
I'm not going to pay VIP for some fold-out chairs and a McDonald's water cooler. Let's step our cookie up a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, over in Europe, man, do you see some of their VIP setups? They're sweet. They get open bars and stuff. Like, it's insane.
I saw. Evan, do we have a name for our team GP level? Because step our cookie up. Let me tell you.
That's a pretty good one.
We'll save that one for later.
We will absolutely save that one together later. So, for what it's worth, I would love to see credit cards being taken at these events. This is at the organizer's discretion. I think Wizards telling them they have to eat the 5% fee is something that is probably just a bridge too far. I mean, for what it's worth, it's just about fees. It really is. That's why people don't like to take credit cards, because they have to pay fees on them.
What did you say about the ecosystem?
GPs are already $70. GPs were $30 like 6 years ago. Now they're $70.
It's the magic of inflation.
Eat the fees. Honestly,
it's a little messed up. I'm not going to lie, but there's not much. There's some bargaining room, I think, that the organizers need to have to say, if I need to be cash only, then I should have to say very clearly events are cash only.
The pleasant lady that sells me rhubarb at the farmer's market has a little thing plugged into her iPad that accepts credit cards. Yep. Wizards of the Coast doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, they don't have a functional computer program either. But
we were talking about somebody quitting their digital outlet,
right.
Just saying.
I mean, it's not, but it's not like they had to make the plugin for the iPad. Yeah.
So that's a thing, and again, I feel like there's parts where the organizer has to be there, and it's not Wizards running these events; it's organizers running the events. To be clear, but either way, we're going to roll around to the finisher, and the finisher this week. For those of you who regularly watch first-person shooters, you may already know what the Counterstrike Global Offensive ESL Cologne Major event was. But for those of you that don't, it was a major shooty-shooty-bang-bang tournament that happened last week in France. Yeah. And it's relevant for us robe-and-wizard-hat poker folks because instead of using double elimination or round robin as they usually do, they used Swiss, where they cut to top 8, which we're kind of familiar with, as it turns out, and is the first time a major non-turn-based esport used Swiss pairings. So now that CSGO has started borrowing ideas from Magic, what tidbit would you like to see MTG borrow from the big boys in esports? Ruben?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to the day that Magic borrows some Assassin's Creed technology and finally allows players to covertly murder their Lantern opponents.
Nice. Get your Field of Dreams now. Not kidding.
Did you
Right.
see that there was that young man who made Lantern Control in Modern? He showed up with the Legacy version.
Nice.
I just would covertly murder him.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line here.
There you go. Aaron?
Well, I'm actually hoping that Magic borrows from Mario and Zelda culture a little bit, and players start posting their MTGO videos of Legacy Miracle speedruns.
Nice. And if Wizards is going to go with the full Nintendo, if you post a video of Nintendo footage of any kind, Nintendo takes a huge chunk out of the money that you make for that video. Did you know that?
Really? I did not.
They claim a copyright claim, and they say that you get something like 30 or 40% what the video makes, and they get the rest.
That's unreal.
Because they're Nintendo, and you can go screw yourself. That's how it works.
Yeah, there. Okay. Well,
All right. However, I think Magic can learn a lot from League of Legends, Hearthstone, Counterstrike, Dota, Heroes of the Storm, Path of Exile, Street Fighter, Madden, and Super Smash Brothers, and actually broadcast their major events.
Mm.
Oh.
Little bit of
how's that-
tea,
how's that?
little bit of shade, little bit, just a tiny smidge.
That you guys can put in your brand new Magic Mike's water bottles.
Yes.
All
All the
that
tea.
Shake it up a little bit.
That's a good thing. That's good times. All right. So that ends another episode of Magic Mike's. Before we get to our final slide, I do want to thank my two co-hosts. Thank you very much, Ruben Pressler.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you, Aaron Campbell.
Thank you for having me.
You guys are wonderful as always, and we're going to roll on to our final slide, in which I thank you, the viewer and or the listener, for coming here and joining us to discuss all things Magic. I want to thank my co-hosts, you guys, for watching, and to support us at patreon.com/magicmikes, where we just reached our new level, where we are going to be making Magic Mike's water bottles. You guys are fan-freaking-tastic. I'm actually going to check. Our next level is what again?
Baywatch.
Our next level
This one is
the Baywatch level. The Baywatch, in which we, if we're up $91 more, we will produce awesome pins and life pads that we're going to put on sale in our online store, which has soft launched at magicmikespodcast.com, if you're interested in checking that out. That said, that exists thanks to our Patreon supporters. Of course, you could follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, and do everything social that tells people that we exist. You can catch us online at twitch.tv/magicmikes, on Twitter at magicmikescast, on Reddit at reddit.com/r/magicmikes, on Facebook at facebook.com/magicmikes. Talk to us privately at magicmikespodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmikespodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.